Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. This is the special guest I teased this morning on my daily financial news. Let's welcome Beth back to the channel and somebody we've got to get scheduled every week or every other week, I think.
Thank you, Mike. I am so happy to be here among the legends on this channel. It's just really an honor for me. So thanks so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. We're going to do this first episode, and this is for the single ladies. I think that's a Beyonce song. But we were joking off air. You were talking about an experience in 2002 when you were buying a house. What people were telling you about basically your hopes for dating because you
Yeah.
were buying a home. And I chuckled and I said, we got to squash this nonsense. So bring us back to 2002. You were going to be buying a home. And what were people telling you?
Yeah. So this was crazy. I was told at the time that I was single at the time, early 20s. And I was told by somebody in my circle, one of my best real estate friends. Actually, I was kind of surprised to hear this person say it, but they said, guys are going to be intimidated by you if you're investing in real estate. And I already have my first house hack. I was looking to buy my first strictly investment property. And this person that was telling me this, like he had been doing it and he was kind of my mentor. And I was like, wow, guys are going to be intimidated by you. I'm like, boy, that's kind of I had to, like what? People aren't going to want to buy or, aren't going to want to ask me out if I've bought these properties and excuse me, and now I know how incredibly flawed that was. But
I don't know. Flawed might be the nicest word I would put on it. That
oh,
is
I know. There's a
asinine.
lot of just complete insanity. So anyway, now, when you're young, you feel more vulnerable and, don't necessarily have like the wisdom and the insight that you get with age, where
Mhm.
now I look back, that was 20 years ago,
Mhm.
and now I've been married for what, 17 years, so clearly it worked. I found my match, who he was doing the same thing. I had two houses, he had two houses. It was
There you
like this
go.
perfect blend, so, and
That's
then we just,
hilarious.
expanded it from there. But, um, anyway, yeah, that was an interesting dynamic that I think, really should not, if anyone is hearing that kind of pushback, people get all kinds of pushback about purchasing investment property. Like, oh, people are going to think that you're, I don't know, greedy. People are going to think that you're fill in the blank of whatever like limiting belief people want to put on to you. It's their own limiting beliefs is really what I've learned it is. It's not that somebody's worried about my dating prospects or whatever back in the day, it's more about
Yeah.
it's their own stuff. They're thinking about their own stuff. Maybe that person would have been intimidated if he was interested in a lady who
Yeah.
had more than maybe he did, or I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know, but that was that person's stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't mine. Do not take on other people's baggage.
Yeah, please leave it at the door. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
You got your own to deal with. Don't take others. But
absolutely.
but I really want to make this episode about the single ladies and really females in general. I think I would like to. I frankly would like to see more and more single ladies and females buy real estate, whether it's house hacking, which you and I will talk about in episode 2,
Yeah.
or buying duplexes or quads. Taking care of yourself financially, not again my experience, right? I was raised by a stay-at-home mom. She did go to work, but I was in high school at the time, so most of my experience she was stay-at-home. She was dependent on my dad, who liked to use that power in the
Right.
relationship. In as far as I will admit now, is very toxic. He made the money, he made the rules. He did this, he did not cool. That's not what relationships should have been about. She should have divorced him decades earlier, but she didn't because of that. So I want to make this episode about the ladies being strong, again, leaving. If that baggage is out there, I would hope it wouldn't be, but if it is, leave it there. Go house hack. Get a rental, get a duplex. Take care of yourself financially. Do not depend on a man. That is bupkis. Don't ever do that.
Or anyone,
Yeah, or
really,
anyone. Yeah.
yeah. Because you need to, if I say own your own life, you need to have your own life, your own finances, your own power. And if someone feels threatened by that power, maybe that's something you need to look into,
you might yeah, you might want to find somebody
Uh,
else.
yeah, maybe something needs to be teased out there. But I mean, it's like, I was raised by a single mom who was just hustling, she was house hacking too. Now I realize back in the 80s, like there was always somebody renting a room in her house, our one bathroom house.
Yeah.
But you know, and I did learn from her. She was always like, you got to have your own money, your own source of, taking care of yourself and just because otherwise then you're beholden to whatever circumstances life brings you.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things about, bringing it back to real estate is just like, having control of those assets, and owning your own life and your own physical property, I think feels very just reassuring to me. Like I've got housing for my family. I have something that can provide for us in the future. I'm in real estate sales, which is a very volatile industry. My goodness, we could all the things we could talk about that right now. Never any guarantee of an income of getting paid ever. You get paid at the end of the job only if it sells, and sometimes you don't get paid at all. You never know what's going to happen. You got to have some stability, and this goes for everybody, not just ladies, but we're talking about the ladies just because I think a lot of them, I know I can speak for myself. So back
Sure.
when I was getting started, it seemed like it was described to me as like a rich man's game. And I felt like, well, I'm not rich or a man. So how
Yeah.
can
Strike one, strike two.
yeah,
Whoops.
it's not for me, and that was a very self-limiting belief, and I am starting to see more ladies getting into the space, which I think is really great.
That's awesome.
And inspiring to see, some of the greats on your channel, like Anna Kelly and all these other people who are just phenomenal. And I just really love seeing that. But back in the, when I was starting, there was no YouTube, there was nothing, there was a few meetups.
Yeah,
Zillow wasn't even around back then,
It wasn't people were hiding. It's just you didn't know where to look. Yeah.
You didn't know where to look. So I'd meet like one person. Oh, this person's a landlord. And then some people don't want to be a part of that. They don't want to share. They're just like, no, go away.
Yeah.
You're pestering me. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So it was hard to find the role models, so now I would say like seek them out, they're out there in the social media world. I'm here. So if anybody wants to ask me anything, I love to share. It's really
let's hit that right
me.
now. We'll hit it again. But if a single lady or a guy wanted to reach out to you, or a married woman wanted to reach out, how would you want them to do that? What's the best way for you?
Yeah, anybody can do that. So easiest to find on Facebook. So just my name, like it shows right there, Beth Traverso. Find me on Facebook. I'm also have my website, bethtraverso.com, or just Google me. I'm all over the internet, easy to find. So, and I'm here to help.
So I want to talk about this again. I don't want to sound sexist. I don't know how this is going to come out. More and more women need to buy real estate, whether they are married or single, especially single. You don't want to be holden. So I want to go back to that purchase. Tell us about that first purchase. You were single. You were already house hacking, which we will get into episode 2. Yeah. But tell us about that first true rental purchase.
Right. So I got into real estate sales. This was back in about 2000. Well, so I still got my real estate license in 1998. Right. And then I was working on building my business, which is very, very hard to do. And so my first good year that I had, my business partner at the time, who was also a real estate investor, he said, before you do anything, you need to buy a rental property. Don't buy any stupid stuff.
Wait, you didn't buy a BMW 3 Series or 5 Series? You actually bought a rental?
No, I was driving a used Camry, I think. I don't remember what I was driving back then. It was never flashy. And no, I didn't buy any stupid stuff. In fact, forget the stupid stuff, guys. Don't watch those HGTV. I hate those Bravo shows, honestly. Like, I never watch any of them. I don't know. I don't want to know any of those. I don't want to know any of that. It's not real. It's super fake. It doesn't matter. All that flash matters not at all. One thing that really matters to me is being able to sleep at night and being able to have peace knowing that I'm gonna be okay. Because when you're out in this industry that I'm in, like there's all sorts of ways that things can go wrong. And so just having that security is worth far more than a stupid car or whatever, flashy watch, or I don't even have a watch, or
the purses and the shoes.
Yeah, purses. Oh my gosh, I've got one purse. It's a decent purse. I like nice things, but it's not like a $5,000 bag. Or anyway, don't do that stuff. So my friend was like, buy a rental property. And so I found one. It was in this area in Seattle called Ballard, which is super hip and popular now, and that's where I grew up, is what I knew. And I've been selling real estate in that area for, 4 years at that point. And so I knew a good deal when I saw it.
Yeah. And you knew your buy. I call it a buy box. You had a buy box.
I had my buy box. I didn't think of it as that right back then. I'm just like, here's something It was a wreck, built 1905, like a
Oh,
fisherman's
oh
shack
yeah.
kind of a thing. One
I
of
know that.
those.
Yeah, oh,
It
yeah.
had a little, what I liked about it though, and your audience might appreciate this, is it had a little carriage house, like a
Ah,
legit carriage house in the back that somebody had been renting for the last 50 years or something
right.
like that. So I bought it from a landlord that was OG who had
Mm,
like 50 houses around this area.
nice.
So he liked that I was buying it from him, and he gave me some advice, which wasn't necessarily what I would give people, but um, yeah, but it was an interesting learning experience. I made literally every mistake that could have been made. I ran into the wrong person. I made improvements I shouldn't have made. Uh, it goes on and on and on, but it ended up being incredibly valuable for me as it got me in the game.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was possible, and I saw that, okay, I can fall on my face and still be okay.
Yeah.
And over time it just got better. Sure, there was twists and turns and things. I ended up selling it a couple years ago. I 1031'd it into better things, and still that money is still that
Yeah.
20%. I did put 20% down.
Yeah.
I wasn't house hacking that one, so I
Mhm.
guess I bought it for 250, so it was like what 45, $50,000.
Yep. 50K.
um and I've rolled that into, it's grown exponentially just by
Mhm.
rolling it into other investments and buying bigger and better things. So I'm
I
still
love that.
benefiting from that today.
Yes.
And not to mention, I bought it for 250 and sold it for like 750 or something like that. So there's
Mhm.
all this,
Yeah.
I know I never focus on appreciation, right? It did cash flow. If it didn't cash flow, I would not have done it. And that is actually one of the mistakes I made. Was it was a slightly negative when I first bought it, but I was able to get it up to speed pretty quickly. But
Yeah. This is awesome.
yeah, the main thing was
Again,
I did it.
yeah, get
Yeah.
in the game. Again, when you filled out your application, they didn't ask you if there was a guy around that could sign too, right?
No, they didn't. Thank goodness that. But that used to be like that. Like you literally couldn't
Yeah.
purchase something without.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do remember, like, yeah, I won't get into. I was just remembering, like, when I was pregnant, somebody was saying, like, oh, well, if you're pregnant, we can't use your income. Thankfully, they got rid of that.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Yeah.
another thing that was holding ladies back. Was like,
Yeah.
excuse me, like, because I'm
Really?
pregnant, you think I'm not going to have a job anymore? Thankfully, they got rid of that
Yeah.
too.
Thankfully.
Anyway,
Yeah. So again, I just love the story, right? You did it. You got in the game. It was 2002. That was before the crash. You held it for 16, 17 years. You 1031. You rolled the money. It's still sitting there working for you. Sacrifice. Don't buy toys. Um, Ladies, buy assets. Buy assets with fixed rate debt. I would argue make sure it cash flows day one. No
yeah,
alligators.
that was a mistake. One of the mistakes I made, but
Yeah. You got in the game
I learned.
and you
Yeah.
stayed in the game, right?
Yes.
And again, the housing crash came to Seattle too, right? So that you probably
Oh,
felt some
yes, it
pain.
did. People were saying how different we were, but you know what? We weren't different. We learned that we were not different.
Yeah.
But you only realize the loss if you have to sell when it's down, and I did not.
Yeah.
It was
They were
still
cash
cash
flow.
flowing. No reason to
Exactly.
not sell. I was upside down for a while there, I think, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. A lot of stuff we owned was up. I mean, we luckily enough, as you know, my story, 1031 into apartments, but all those apartments I'm positive were worth less than what we paid for them, at least for a little time. Doesn't matter. They cash flowed
Yeah.
and cash flow got better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a
Beth,
bad feeling, but it's
yeah.
just a feeling, and so
Yeah.
look at it from a business sense, and not
Yeah.
the emotional.
Yeah. I didn't have feeling. I never look at my net worth. It's just, it's a number that people lie about all the time. I'm like, I don't care.
It's
Doesn't matter.
bragging rights,
Yeah.
like number of doors. I kind of see that as another one that's like,
Yeah. I don't like that one either. I hate that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Beth, do me a favor. One more time. Where can people find you and network
Yeah.
with you? And ladies should be reaching out immediately.
Right. So, so I'm easy to find on Facebook. Like I said, I sell real estate in the greater Seattle area, and I can be found. Just Google my name. You'll find my website, etc. BethTraversogroup.com. And I'm everywhere. So easy to track me down. And again, happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Beth.
Thank you.